Hi, this is Rachel from Farm Chick Farm, and today we are going to be making lactation cookies because I recently had a baby. She's 5 months old, and when I first had her, well, not when I first had her, but about 2 months into it, I started having problems with low milk supply. So I was trying to do everything I could to boost my milk supply, and I'll be having another video in a little bit telling about all the things that I did, because I tried everything under the sun that people say help increase your milk supply. And one of the things is these lactation cookies. When I had my baby, a really good friend of ours brought me some chicken soup and these cookies to the hospital after I ended up having an emergency C-section, and she brought me these cookies, and I've been hooked ever since. They're really, really, really good. And also they're great for during the middle of the night when you're getting up nursing and you need something quick to eat, you're starving to death. They're really good to have by your bedside, by your nightstand, wherever you're nursing at during the night, to just grab and eat real quick. They're really easy. There have been a lot of times that these cookies were my mainstay because I didn't have time to eat, I didn't have time to cook, having a screaming newborn. So these cookies got me by a lot of times. They have a lot of nutrition in them. If you need to skirt by with not much, these cookies are pretty good for that. So let's get started. First, we're gonna have a cup of coconut oil. Oh, and I'm doing coconut oil because I am doing dairy-free. The dairy seemed to upset my baby's stomach. I don't think she had an allergy per se, but it just seemed like she was a little sensitive, so I got off of dairy and she seemed to do a whole lot better. So I converted these to dairy-free cookies, which was super simple. I used coconut oil instead of butter. So if you are not doing dairy-free and you want to do the butter, it would be 2 sticks of butter. I'm using a cup of coconut oil. And also, I'll go ahead and show while I'm thinking about it, I found these dairy-free chocolate chips at Trader Joe's, and they have other dairy-free brands. I know there's some you can get on Amazon, and you can get some other places too, but I found these locally in our closest city from Trader Joe's, and they're really, really good. They taste just like normal chocolate chips, they just don't have dairy in them. They do say on the back they may contain traces of milk, but since she didn't have a dairy allergy, I'm not really concerned with traces of milk. It's probably just shared processing equipment or something like that, but she hasn't had problems with it. So those are my dairy-free chocolate chips. So, cup of coconut oil. And before you start mixing up your cookies, you want to go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And if your coconut oil is hard, you just want to soften it or heat it up however. It can be liquid or soft, whatever you want, but I mean, obviously it can't be a hard block. A cup of brown sugar. And I usually will use a cup of brown sugar, and I'll do a half a cup of sucanat. Sucanat is just a less processed sugar. It still has some of the minerals and things in it that are just a little bit better than white sugar. So I will do a cup of brown sugar and a half a cup of sucanat. If you don't have the sucanat, you can just do a little extra sugar to make up for it. So mix together cream, was what they call it, your butter or your coconut oil and your sugar. Get it all mixed together. Okay, and then we're going to add 2 large eggs. Okay, and get them mixed up real good. Okay, next we are going to add our vanilla, a teaspoon of vanilla, one of the healthy fats in it is flaxseed meal. So you want to take 2 tablespoons of flaxseed meal and mix it with 4 tablespoons of water, and that adds some extra fats into there. So that's what we're going to put in now. Okay, and mix those things up. Okay, and next we are going to do our oats. The oats are a slower burning carb. They're a lot healthier than just flour, so slow burn carb. And also the oats are supposed to be really, really good for the lactation. One of the things that came up time and time again was eating oatmeal for breakfast every morning, eat oatmeal every day, was one of the highly recommended things for boosting your milk supply. And even it's a Trim Healthy Mama thing, but oatmeal with coconut oil on top of it, because then you have the carbs and the healthy fats too. So you want 2 cups of oats. Okay, and a cup of coconut. You can use sweetened or unsweetened, just depend, whatever your preference is. And 2 cups of chocolate chips, which is a 12-ounce bag. And this makes a lot of cookies, so I know it sounds like a lot, but it makes a really big batch of cookies. When I make it, I'll make the batch of cookies, and sometimes I don't cook them all at one time, but one batch will end up lasting me all week. And I eat a pretty good amount of them during the day, and like I said, during the middle of the night when I wake up to nurse and things like that. So they do make a really big batch, which is nice when you're dealing with a baby. You don't have to make them every other day to have them to last you. So that's our coconut, our oats, and our chocolate chips. And they're very easy to modify. If you don't like chocolate chips, you can leave the chocolate out. We're gonna add in 2 cups of pecans. If you're not a pecan person, you can put sliced almonds, walnuts, any kind of nut really that you like. So we have 2 cups of pecans. That incorporated into there. Okay, and we are going to do 2 cups of flour. I am using sprouted wheat flour. You can also use regular flour. You can also grind up oats in like a blender or food processor and use oat flour. I've done that a good bit because the oats are supposed to be very good for lactation, so I just figure the more I can add in, the better. The sprouted wheat flour is much gentler on your blood sugar. It's more gentle on your gut. It's supposed to help with all those things, so it's good for that too. So that's why I'm using the sprouted flour today. And I kind of just, whatever the mood strikes me, that's what I use. So today I'm using the sprouted flour. And I like to leave a little bit of flour in my measuring cup and mix in my salt and my baking soda or baking powder, whatever the recipe calls for, and mix it up real well. That way you don't have lumps of salt or baking soda that don't get mixed into your recipe. Some people notice the brewer's yeast really helps them a lot. I didn't, so I just leave it out. So just get all that mixed up really well. Okay, I'm gonna move this stuff out of the way a little bit and get my pan. Okay, and then probably we want to go ahead and grease our pan so our cookies don't stick. I think a couple of times I didn't do that and they were kind of hard to get off. Okay, so go ahead and spray your pan. You can do cooking spray. If you don't have cooking spray, you can just take a stick of butter and rub all over it. That would work just as well. Just some grease on there to keep them from sticking. Okay, and then we're just gonna scoop them out. So far, I have not had these cookies ever when they spread out a whole lot. So pretty much where you put them is where they're gonna be. They're not, you don't have to worry about them spreading into one big cookie. I've had that happen before making cookies, but these don't seem to do that. Okay, and actually when I do them, I've seen that they seem to just stay kind of in the shape you just drop them in. I like mine being a little flatter, so I'll just take and flatten them out. I find that my favorite way is when they're kind of flat and crunchy. Okay, and we are going to stick these in the oven, 350 degrees for 13, 14 minutes, depends on how crunchy you like them. I do mine about 13 to 14 minutes. I'll just watch them when they're getting close and pull them out when they look good to me, which it might be a little trial and error for you to figure out exactly how done you like yours. So we're going to stick them in there. While those are baking, I'm going to show y'all. Usually I don't make the whole batch at one time because it ends up being a whole lot of times making cookies. So I'll do 1 or 2 sheets of them in the oven, and then I'll end up sticking the dough in my refrigerator. But since it's coconut oil, it gets really, really hot in the refrigerator, and so before I want to make cookies again, I have to let the dough sit out for a really long time so that the coconut will get soft. And my house is usually pretty cold. My husband likes it cold in the house. So even sitting on my counter, they'll stay really hard because the coconut oil stays hard in cooler temperatures. So what I did the last couple times, and it worked really, really well, is go ahead and scoop the cookies out onto a pan and freeze them, and then put them in a Ziploc freezer bag, and it's like you got ready-made cookies. All you have to do is pull them out, stick them on a pan, and bake them when you're ready for a batch of cookies. So that's what I'm going to do with some of this dough today. It's even better than slice and bake because it's real, fresh, homemade cookies, and it couldn't get much easier than just pulling them out the freezer. And I do the same thing. I go ahead and flatten them so that when I take them, when I'm ready for them, I can just take them out, pop them in the oven. I don't even let them thaw. I just add a couple minutes extra to the cooking time. So they'll be all ready for when the sudden urge for cookies hits. Because I don't know about y'all, but I am a chocolate lover, and sometimes the urge just hits me that I need something yummy. Also, kind of a little tip for me, I love dairy. Dairy's kind of one of my staple for protein. I eat dairy all day long, and I didn't realize just how much I did until I was not eating it. The way that I've been able to be dairy free for 3 months now is always making sure I have something tasty that I can eat when I'm really craving something else. Like if I'm really craving ice cream, because ice cream is one of those things I love, and I can't have it, I'll go either have some of my dairy-free pudding or my lactation cookies, something that I really think is tasty. I'll go eat it, and it will satisfy me enough that I don't have that super craving anymore. So that's kind of one of the ways that I've been able to stick with the dairy-free, plus I know how much better it is for my baby. So I'll stick these in the freezer, flash freeze them. When they get hard, I will take them out, put them in a Ziploc baggie, and have them on hand for whenever the urge strikes me. Okay, these are ready. So we're gonna get them out off the pan. I'm telling y'all, these are so good. Alright, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and go try the cookies. They're really, really good, and they're not too difficult to do. Also, they make a lot, so you can save them up. I'll put the recipe below in the description, and also some links where you can get some of the stuff that I use, like the sprouted wheat flour and the sucanat and all that stuff. Also, I'll put a link to that video about all the things that I learned and all the things that I tried for increasing milk supply. If you're a breastfeeding mama and you're struggling with that, I have done lots of research, so go check that video out. Please give me a like, subscribe if you liked this and you want to see more of it, and check me out on Instagram, and thank y'all for joining today. Bye.